1956.
We are gathered here to mourn his loss. Dearly beloved, he has passed on. Praise him, know who he is. Amen. Jimmy Swaggart Bath Products and his new magazine, Repent House. This is amazing. Thank you.
That's a pleasure.
I love this. This is kind of a Jackie Stewart kind of room. Just go around the walls.
Aye.
Aye.
A little on the dull side.
No, but that's great, though. You know, the type of thing where the cat would go, where am I?
All those broadcasts we saw you do, Good Morning Vietnam.
Is this from you? The doctor's saying you're not that well. How are you?
I'm all right. It's good to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome.
All that ad-libbing, that was ad-libbing.
It was, yeah.
And as a disc jockey. Have you ever been a disc jockey? You ever done that?
No, I did it for in college for an hour, and I was really bad. I didn't know how to put the records on, so I'd put them on at the wrong speeds. And they asked me to stop really quick.
Yeah, but when you did it on the movie, they just let the cameras run, didn't
right,
they?
Yeah, I'd come on with different characters. Barry would let me, we did one character who was a military intelligence character.
He talked a lot like this. He could also run as a Republican vice presidential candidate. You know, either talk like this or join the National Guard, you know. That's the difficult thing.
And we would come in with character premises or news flashes, but that had to be from 1965. A lot of stuff talking about Lyndon Johnson and his two lovely daughters we can put together and make one good one. Make fun, I know where you live. There's a lot of different things. Richard Nixon, the happiest president we've ever had. And a lot of political, and a lot of American television references.
Like Homer Pyle. I picked up a woman, turned out to be a man, surprise!
I could see people going, I don't know what that was, it might be funny. And that's how we worked it out.
Yeah.
It was very free form, that's why I wanted to do the movie.
Yeah, do you think, we've had all these films like Full Metal Jacket and Platoon and Hamburger Hill. Do you think the Americans are ready for a kind of light-hearted look at Vietnam?
I don't think you can ever look at something that was so painful lightheartedly, but at least it was a different look. It takes place in 1965.
Yeah, just before.
Yeah, before things really hit the fan. It was, And what would be hitting the fan, Mr. Williams? Something unusual. It was the year that they went from 30,000 troops to about 210,000. Yeah. So it was a transitional year.
It's amazing how well, I've never been to Saigon, so I don't know, but it looked like Saigon in 1965. It's amazing how that was created.
Yeah, it's Bangkok. I mean, the Thai must be getting a little tired of everyone going, won't you shoot our city just to look at us? No, I'm sorry. And the Vietnamese want everybody to come back now and shoot in Vietnam, and I'm sure everyone's going, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Come back to Saigon now. Come on now, we don't shoot this time. Come back and enjoy.
He was a real guy, Adrian Cronauer, wasn't he?
Yeah.
What did he think of the film? Did he think you would like him?
He wasn't as outrageous as that. He met me and said,
Gosh, you made me look like a real neat guy.
it was like having
Sounds
Gandhi.
like the intelligence man.
Yeah, it's the same guy. He came up after, it's like having Gandhi come after doing Gandhi going, I wasn't like that, but it's great. You're so much thinner than I was. You know, I put on 20 pounds. It was nice. I didn't meet him beforehand because I knew I was doing something different.
Yeah. But it wasn't really like him because he said you were a kind of desperado on the airways. You're breaking all the rules and you know, reading out news flashes that you shouldn't have.
He actually tried to do something like that. There was an explosion, a restaurant blew up, and he wanted to go back. So I think people should know, and they said, no, they shouldn't, which is an actual incident that happened, which we used. Yeah. But he wasn't outrageous like I was. No. There were disc jockeys later who were incredibly outrageous.
Yeah, but the reaction, you know, I saw the film, and immensely entertaining, and going to be highly successful, obviously. But there's, it seems to me that any soldiers fighting the war, their reaction to a disc jockey is going to be antipathetic, really, isn't it? They're going to shout back when you say, good morning, Vietnam.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to say,
yeah.
Get stuffed.
Yeah. But I didn't want to say that.
No, that's all right. I had to say it for you, and then they'll bleep it out later.
That's what you think.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, can we say other things, too?
Oh, yeah.
Really? It's time for the Wonder Puppet Show. Look, boys and girls, it's Mr. Weasel. Oh, no. I see one lady in the back going, time to go, Harry. No, front rows have to move back. Yeah, it was like that in reality. Kornauer said that they really... He was on at 5 in the morning, and then if you're fighting in the field, it's not great to have someone wake you up at 5 in the morning. It's about as much fun as fiberglass underwear, you know?
But it is strange that the American Forces Network would have been playing things like Ray Conniff and
Oh,
and
Mancini,
Sinatra,
and, yeah, the type of music you shouldn't listen to and operate heavy machinery, you know?
Yeah.
Go ahead. All right, here's another... No, man, especially if you're black, you're in the middle of the jungle, someone's shooting at you, going, yeah, right, I want to hear Henry Mancini. Put Aretha on. Put Aretha on now. Yeah, Aretha, I want to be going, ah, help me, Lord, help me. They've been doing that to Henry Mancini. Don't make me move, dear Lord. That's incredible. Hold on, just come back 1 second here. Let's take this off for the Jewish people here.
We wanted to show another little clip from the film, if we may, when I think Adrian gets stuck in a traffic jam in downtown Saigon. He's entertaining the troops.
Right.
So it's just a little flavor.
Okay.
I said to Robin as we were watching, I've never heard anybody do Elmer Fudd that good.
Oh. I used to do him singing Bruce Springsteen, which was, I'm driving in my car. I turn on the radio. I pull you a little closer. You just say no. You say you don't like it. I say you're a wire. But when we kiss, it's like fire.
You could do a whole album of Bruce Springsteen songs done by various cartoon characters.
I say, son, I say, boy. Yeah, I mean, cartoon voices, I grew up on television in America. It's like the cartoons, I mean, mostly Warner Brothers cartoons are wonderful. Even though this is a Disney film, I had to say that. And that's part of our memory, you know? And
Of course. Yeah, I kind of grew up with radio. I grew up with people like the Goons, and I know you're a great fan of Peter
Oh,
Sellers.
Natty, how did you get across that stream? I walked across those rocks.
Yeah.
Those aren't rocks, those are alligators. I wonder why my legs were getting shorter.
But it's very unusual to have an American knowing about the Goons and all that stuff.
I mean, my idol is Jonathan Winters, and his idol is Spike Milligan. So
I
it's
love
kind of like a
Jonathan
comedy
Winters,
food
too.
chain, you know?
That big fat-faced old Jonathan.
Oh, he's wonderful. He is great. He's like Buddha, you know? He turns into he's the one I always, whenever I do a voice like this, it's usually Jonathan. It's like, I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry I ran over your dog with my Peterbilt, but hey, we'll have road pizza. Just cook them anyway. Hey, it's on the road, it's hot enough. I mean, he's the one that got me into doing characters and different voices. He's a painter, so he teaches you about just, you know, picking up one aspect and going with that.
Yeah. But you've walked the tightrope. I mean, you're a performer who works without a net.
Yeah. It's fun to be that dangerous. It's nice to not have a clue where you're going with it.
But do you have any kind of thing blocked out in your mind that you're going to do?
No, just general ideas, just pieces. Now, in America, if I'm doing something political, I'll be talking about Jesse, you know. You talk about Jesse Jackson. Yes, praise the power, you know what I mean. And I had this vision that if Jesse wasn't in politics, he'd be going, Jackson's Rainbow Buick, come on down. Terribly Yiddish, come on down. You can drive something. And sometimes I talk about Ron. I feel that, you know, Ronald Reagan was Walt Disney's last wish. You know, I'd like to welcome you to the White House. I had a feeling that he was going to break down in the middle of a press conference. He'd be in the middle of a press conference and go, Mr. President, can you answer the... Well, Get the truck, John, get the jumper cable. Come on now, get him up. I'm back. I would while away the hours.
Have you never entertained Ron and Nancy at the White House?
No, there's a fat chance I will.
I'm following that.
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to go, no, bring him down.
Now, what about,
Have him washed and sent to my room.
what about this new man that we have to get used to now, Mr. Quayle?
Mr.
Because
Quayle,
You weren't drafted for Vietnam. You didn't join the National Guard to get out of it,
No,
did you?
they had a draft number. They had a lottery, which was where your birthday was your lottery number. My birthday was July 21st, and my lottery number was 351, which means the Viet Cong had to be coming from New York towards California. And it'll be me and Dan Quayle going, yeah, look.
How is old Dan? Is he standing up well?
You know, Dan and I are like this. I think it's when you have like Bush and Quayle, it sounds like an old Marx Brothers routine. It's like, hey, Bush, hey, how many Quayle in the bush? Get out of here. Yeah. Hey, what do you say to Quayle Bush? Hey, that's no way to go. Hey, he's a Republican. Hey, National Guard. Oh, where you been? Indiana, get out of here. It's like, and Dukakis, I mean, basically the other choice on the Democratic side, you have Dukakis, who's like a cross between a Kennedy and a Mondale. So you have Mr. Warmth.
He's, hi, I'm Michael Dukakis. It's a 1-800 number. I'm a Valium poster child.
And then you have George Bush, who's basically the only man on the planet that a rattlesnake can't bite out of professional courtesy. So it's like, it's a toss-up between the two. So you're wondering, where does that leave us? I don't know.
Well, we kind of look at it with some amazement, because it appears...
I know, even Gary Hart. If Gary Hart had done the same thing in France, they would go, my God, what are you saying? Say, he slept with a woman. Well, what's the problem? Yeah. Did he sleep with a chicken? No, okay. If he sleeps with a chicken, then he's elected, then you have a problem. Welcome the president and the first lady. Then, honey, can you feed the homeless? Then it's a different thing. In American politics, it's amazing. You couldn't write comedy routines as strange as what we have.
We think it kind of, votes seem to go in direct proportion to the number of balloons that come down at the various caucuses.
If you've ever been to, like, the conventions, it's scary to see who votes. Yeah. The people who are there basically picking the presidents are a lot of people quite medicated going, yeah, he looks good. And a little name. Hi, my name is George Bush. Yes. And you have to realize what it's about. It's amazing. The word party does mean something. You know, it's very strange. That's why you have to kind of separate it, try and make fun of it, to kind of give people some perspective. Yeah. The real battle is in the Supreme Court right now, because there are two judges hanging on just by a thread. There's Thurgood Marshall, who is a black judge who's very old and not very well. I have a feeling that Reagan calls him up at night and goes, Thurgood, boo! I don't know. You have to, for me it's important that you talk about those things.
Of course. Now, you've been, this is actually about your second visit here, really, as a performer. Last time was for the Prince's Trust with Prince Charles and Lady Diana. Yeah. You enjoyed that?
It was fun. It was very scary, though.
How did you get on with Prince Charles and Lady Diana?
I was amazed that I'm so glad he laughed. I was just like, oh, thank you, Lord.
No, off with his head.
Every so often I would look up at the box like, is it going well? Thank you. Obviously you can hear it, but it's not going. So, I know I couldn't say it that night. Now they're going, and don't ever say it now. But it was nice that he liked it. I think he had a great time.
Do American comedians, or people that you perhaps work with in the various comic workshops that you do, they do a lot of stuff on our roars? Do they imitate them?
No, not too. I mean, they make remarks. I think just physical remarks. They talk about it. I mean, obviously, just what I just did just then, and people went,
That's maybe our future king.
we don't talk about your president looking like a turkey neck.
No.
All right. They talk about something. I don't think anyone does impressions. I mean, a few people talk about Margaret Thatcher. I once said that she seemed like Julia Childs on steroids, and it's I had Ronald Reagan calling her at night going, I've got something for you. It's a missile. Shh. I can't talk now. Misha's here. I tried. Obviously, there's another one that went. But I don't think too many people know about English politics. I mean, I went to visit the House of Lords, which was amazing. I've never seen so many old people in one place. It was wonderful. It was nice to see them voting, going, time to vote, Lord Simmons. What? Here. But then the House of Commons was, God, it was like a brawl. I mean, no! Here! No! Oh, that's just roll call. Fine, here we go. It's like Congress meets West Side Story. It's like, da-da-da-da-da. Labor Party, here we're party. It's wild. I love watching it, though. I mean, just coming over and seeing the different perspective is great.
Yeah. Well, we're always glad to see you. I mean, the first time we really, you impinged on the consciousness was in Mork and Mindy, and of course all that nanu stuff and Shazbot.
Yeah.
You make all that up as you went along as well?
That one I did, yeah. I mean, that was basically the same thing as Good Morning Vietnam, just my act, things that I was playing with. I mean, I would do stuff in clubs, and then they would put it into the scripts the next day.
Yeah. Do you get, when you do impersonations, do you upset people? Do they? Has anybody written you a stinging letter?
Stallone, I don't think, was too happy. I used to do a thing about him in Hamlet, going, to be a what? You know, I don't think he was real happy about that. He didn't come after me. He's come after friends of mine and got very angry because they've talked about a lot deeper stuff. But I don't think Reagan's exactly joyous about what I do. You know,
Yeah,
implying that he's the world's largest Muppet is not a happy thing.
A lot of Reagan fans in the
Yeah.
audience tonight.
Hey, well, oh.
Your stand-up routine, though, isn't just based on impersonations. You create characters yourself.
Characters, yeah, talk about different things. Some of them personal, some of them talk about my son. Sometimes I talk about sexual relations. Sometimes I talk about, I mean, it's the whole gamut, which is nice. That's why I do it, because it's totally free for me.
You did, there was an enormously successful book in America a few years ago called The World According to Garp. Inevitably, it was made into a movie. And you played Garp in that. Let's have a look at that, okay? That was, The World According to Garp took him from fairly early stages and through his life, and it, reflecting on a man's life. I mean, was that a difficult part to play? Did you have to use your own experience in that at all?
Yeah, some of it, the hard part was actually getting the part where there were children, because I didn't have any children at that point.
Yeah.
It's weird now to think that after having a son, that things like, there's a scene in the movie where I said, let's go watch the kids and just watch them sleep. And I thought, yeah, that's a little hokey, but I'll say it. And now I realize it's something that a lot of people do, where you sneak in and you peek in on them. And it's something wonderful, you know.
Something to treasure, because when they grow older...
Yeah, they'll be
you
going,
want to
can I
strangle
borrow
them.
some money now?
Oh, yeah.
God, Dad, you're real strange.
Oh, believe me.
Yeah, back
That's true.
off.
Do you remember your own childhood? What were you like as a kid?
Quiet, very quiet, until like the last year of high school, the first year of college. Very...
What brought you out?
You're implying I was a closet
No,
comedian.
nothing of the sort.
Oh, better late. I don't know. I remember. I saw this Judy Garland film.
What brought me out, I think, was taking these improvisational theater classes. I went to Claremont Men's College to study political science, but they had one class that was theater, and then one class among that class that was improvisational theater. And I went once, and I never stopped. It was wonderful. It was like, we built our own theater, we started to pack it, and then I flunked all my political science courses. I don't think I would have been very good in political science. I'd be in an embassy right now going, Ahmed, I really love what you do. And I'd have to be wondering where I am. But I chose that and went on with that. My father was wonderful. He wasn't exactly pleased I flunked out of political science, but he said, if you really love this, go ahead with that. But also have an alternative profession like welding.
What was your father? Were you very close to him?
Oh, yeah, he was wonderful. He died last year, but he was this wonderful man, very elegant but very dry. My mother's wild. I mean, my mother's very funny, and here's one of, well, I can't show you because you don't have any rubber bands, but she'll cut one in half and put her nose and pull it out at a party, and people go, thank you.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Yeah, and then my father's going, it's time to go. Time really to go, you know. But she was wonderful. I think she gave me the madness, and he gave me the other side, the dry side.
Was it a happy childhood for you?
Yeah, it was wonderful. I mean, he was in the automobile industry, so we're moving from place to place. But I think I had a great time. That's where the fertile imagination comes from. If you're an only child, it sounds like a kind of a blue cliche, but you can only play with yourself. I mean, remember that, Lumpy? But it was basically, you had to create things. I had this army of toy soldiers, and I'd make all the voices, and that's where it began. I mean, that's where, like you said, where it was kind of the seeds of that, and then it came out later.
What'd you do with the toy soldiers? Because I was an only child for about 6 years as well.
And then what happened? They rented one.
Another one came along, you see.
Surprise.
Yeah.
Can we lose him? Can we move and not tell him where we're going?
Well, that's the way it was. No, they were Irish.
Oh, I can't do that one too well. I always end up doing Scottish. That's not the right accent, Robin, now.
Yeah, because the Americans do have difficulty with British accents.
They can either do like, basically talk like this for a brief moment, And then it gets into, hey, here! Yeah, Jack, what are you doing now? Are you doing something like that,
Yeah.
That was why it's amazing to come to London and you see a black man and you come up and you immediately assume, my man, what it is, brother. Hey, what's happening? And go, really? Fabulous. Good to meet you, too. Oh, pardon me. Let me back off now.
Yeah. So the cartoon characters that you grew up with, they were your comic heroes, were they? Or they...
Yeah, that and Jonathan and Peter Sellers. I mean,
How did you come across the Goons? How did you come across the British sense of humor?
I don't know. I think my father had one of the records. That was also weird because you had a picture backstage of Morecambe and Weiss. And my father he had records of theirs, too.
Really?
Yeah.
That's extraordinary.
He collected from all over the world, but that's why I got to listen to those. Yeah, just remembering the voices and seeing Peter Sellers before Dr. Strangelove in, there's a movie they called The Party.
Where you take the party, talk like that.
That's right, a big party in Hollywood.
We're running around, we got going there.
Yeah.
And, characters like that.
Yeah, you were Oscar nominated for the role in
Yeah, it was real close.
Do you like those showbiz? Are you steeped in the lore of showbiz? I mean, you love all that stuff?
No, I mean, going to that ceremony that night it was very strange, because you're sitting there, and then when they announce someone else's name, you're like, really? And you want to be able to go, hey, Mike. You know, and you can't. You have to sit there and smile like, I'm so happy for you. It's a strange night. Under every chair, there's a little pool of Dom Perignon. And you look out and see all these happy faces like, just die right now.
You live in San Francisco, don't you?
Yeah.
Is
It's the type of town, I mean, I left Hollywood because I kept worrying about my career too much.
Yeah.
But you go in San Francisco is the type of town that even Fellini would go, no. When you walk, you're going down the street and you see a transvestite nun, and you go, okay. And that's like, okay, that begins the day. And then it's from there, it's crazy. I mean, I have friends who've taken so much medication, they'll sit at a stoplight and go, there's got to be another color. You know, some people that prove that Darwin was wrong.
Is San Francisco a better place to bring up your son?
Yeah, I think so. It's just because there's lots of different neighborhoods. And it's a city. It's almost European.
Yeah. You making any attempt to expose him to the same kind of influences that you...
Comedy? He's funny in his own way. I mean, he tells jokes, but they're like Zen jokes. It's like, how many fish does it take to screw in a light bulb? A dog. And then he'll just look at you like, and right then there's two Buddhist monks going, no, go with it. Keep going, that's very good. I mean, he makes up stuff, he sings songs, I mean, that's obviously a time when it's a lot of scatological stuff. That's, you know, poo-poo is big time, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Big time, you know, and little noises, whoa, that's it. But he's fun. I mean, he is amazing for me because it's good, he just brings me down to earth in a wonderful way.
Can he give you any kind of inspirations and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about him.
Yeah.
I don't know, he's like a little Mormon sometimes, because I'll be driving in a car and someone will cut me off and I'll go, oh, shit! And all of a sudden in the back there'll be a little voice going, don't say that, Father. They can't hear you anyway. Oh, it's like, oh. There was a cartoon character, Sylvester, and he had a son who always would go, oh, Father, must you do what you do? That's what I feel like with Zachary. He's always like, oh, must you do that? I'll put a bag over my head, that way I can't see.
Yeah.
He's great.
Will you have more kids?
I just, you know, I found a donor, so I think we're going You have to do Swanson frozen sperm dinners.
Will you do this kind of stuff until the day you pass away?
Yeah, and probably the day I pass away, I'll be
You'll still be doing it.
Take my life!
Or will you ever be able to corral yourself or channel your energies into straight acting?
Well, I'm doing Waiting for Godot
Yeah.
in New York with Steve Martin. I don't know if that'll be straight acting. I mean, I think that'll be strange and
There'll
wonderful.
be a little bit of ad-libbing going on in that.
I don't think you can. I don't think you can take... Pardon me, Sam? Sam Baggett, hi.
Yes, you
Mind if I just do a riff here, babe? No, I don't think I'll be able to go off too much with that, but I think it'll force me to find a character that'll be strange and wonderful.
Yes. Well, we're delighted to see you.
Thank you. I had a wonderful time. It was great
really
fun.
good to and smash it. Come back anytime.
I'll be back. Thank you.
Robin Williams.
Be different flowers.